Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jay, the American Expat, or that idiot as some people call me. Today, I am on my way in JingShang City in Jiangsu Province to visit the Good Mountain Temple, which is the site of legendary battles between monks, evil snake women, and whatnot. So, stick around for more. Well, before going to fight snake spirits and whatnot, the pagodas, I need some caffeine. So I'm going to go into this little shop here in JingShang and get myself some caffeine. That ought to do the trick. You have to have energy when fighting snake spirits and such. So before going to the pagoda, I figure I'll give a little bit of background as to the story and what I'm talking about with snake spirits and monks and whatnot. As the story goes, there was once an immortal who came down from heaven and disguised himself as a street vendor. And a boy came along and bought some candy from him and ate it. But the candy was actually some kind of pills for immortality. So he ate them, and I guess it gave him immortality. But in the end, the boy, he wasn't hungry for 3 days. So he came back to find the shop or the street stand where he had gotten the special candy to ask why. And the immortal guy took him to a bridge, and this all happened in Hangzhou, by the way, hung him over the water and made him throw up, I guess, the candy, where it fell into the water and was consumed by a white snake spirit, who then gained 500 years of powers, I guess, and fell in love with the guy, or felt grateful for the boy who gave her the powers. Anyway, she gained the ability to transform herself into a person. Later on, she would fall in love with the guy, and somehow there was another spirit, a turtle spirit, in the water that was jealous of the snake spirit because, well, he didn't get any of that magical power. But eventually he gained enough power to form into a human, and he became a monk. And he made it a point to go after the white snake spirit to get revenge because he didn't get any of that magical power. So anyway, they battled, and at one point the white snake spirit was separated from her family and imprisoned in this pagoda that we're going to visit here in JingShang. And her companion spirit, another snake spirit, I guess eventually came and freed her from the place. There's a lot more to the story. I recommend going and reading into it yourselves. But yes, that gives you some idea of the background of the place that I'm going and its cultural significance. Obviously, I don't think there were any actual snake spirits or anything going around, but that's the way the story is, so it makes it more interesting just the same. So anyway, without further delay, we better head over to that pagoda and see what we can see. All right, just a short drive from where we're at now. I think it's like 5 minutes away, so yeah, let's drive over there. Well, I have made it. I am just across from the gates of the temple where the spirit of the white snake was imprisoned for, I think, 20 years in the story, if that's how it goes. At one point, before being imprisoned here, she had had a battle with the turtle spirit who had become a monk, and using her magical powers had somehow flooded the place and killed a bunch of monks in the process. I guess they were collateral damage. I don't know, there's different versions of the story. Either way, this is where she was trapped until she was freed by her fellow snake spirit and allowed to go back to her family. The entire place is actually surrounded by water. I'm gonna walk around a little bit before going in. I don't know if you can see it behind me. It's through my umbrella. I don't know. There's a lot of tourist shops. They're selling incense, so you can go in and burn some incense. I'm not particularly religious. I'm not Buddhist or anything, but if you want to give it a try, you certainly can. There's lots of options for that, you can see. There's a lot of different kinds of Buddhism, by the way, especially here in China. In a lot of parts of China, you won't see as many temples as there would have been at one time, but there's Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, there's a lot of different kinds. Those are only two. I'm not a big expert on it, but if you do come here, you may see different styles of temples, different styles of monks, and that's why. Because, well, there's different styles of Buddhism, I guess. But yeah, if you want to give it a try, there's a lot of little shops here selling incense and little trinkets, so you can give it a try. So I'm just taking a moment to shelter under this little pavilion here. Yeah, the rain is coming down especially harsh at the moment, so I figure I'll wait it out just a little bit before heading into the actual temple. Yeah, so this is apparently where the white snake spirit was imprisoned for 20 years, separated from her family, as I keep mentioning. If you do have, remember to come in the summer. During this particular time, around April, May, well, more like June, and that time period, it rains a lot in this part of the country, so you may end up with showers of rain that you have to try and avoid. But they do have a lot of these little pagodas that you can hide under, so not too bad. Okay, the rain isn't really letting up, so rather than delay forever, I think I'm going to go ahead and go into this place. Yeah, try to schedule your trip on a day that's not so rainy. So, there are some rare and interesting things about this particular temple complex. It's an active temple with real monks. You can hear them praying in the background. Maybe I shouldn't be speaking so loudly, but you can see them behind me here. They're back here praying. And yes, very interesting. Definitely worth a visit. Most of the time in China, if you see monks, a lot of times they're just guys in costumes, so they're not actual monks, but these ones are. That's very pretty here. Well, perhaps you're wondering, well, if this is where the white snake spirit was held prisoner, where is the place where she was actually held? And to answer your question, I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe she lived with the monks. Maybe the story originally came from some story about some guy who had an evil wife that he just forced to become a nun or a monk or something. Maybe she wasn't evil and it was like King Henry VIII where, you know, I want to get a divorce and the only way to do so is to force my wife to become a nun or something like that. I really don't know where this story originally came from. Maybe it's just made up. Either way, it's a pretty cool story. Well, without further delay, let's go ahead and go back out into the rain, and we'll go up here to where the pagoda is. And since the story has been changed so many times over the centuries, I'm going to add my own addition. Where was the this white snake spirit lady kept? Well, of course, in the tower. She was held in the tower for 20 years. And being immortal 500 years, powers, she never aged a day. Part of that magical thing. And so did her husband not age a day because, well, as a child he ate that candy that turned out to be immortal pills or something like that. Yeah. Amazing place though. Okay, let's continue on our way up in this rain to the White Snake's Tower. I don't really know if that's part of the story or not, but it seems fitting. Maybe that's only in Western stories. You know, the maiden is kept in the tower. Gotta find my way around here. I see, oh, it's called the Guanyin Pavilion. Ah, and I see the names of the people. So the turtle that became a monk is called Fahai. And I don't remember the name of the white snake lady. I just know she's a white snake and she had a husband and she had a partner. I'll put their names in here so you guys can see it. And yeah, definitely look up the story. It's a very interesting one. It's one of China's most famous and loved folk tales, which I'm, of course, butchering it because I'm a Lawai or a foreigner. Oh, that's the exit. I guess I have to go this way. Yeah, amazing place. Beautiful, ancient architecture, and it's real, it's not a reconstruction. Very amazing. Now there is, of course, as always with these places, a lot of steps, so be prepared to do a lot of walking upstairs if you want to see the entire thing. I haven't seen anywhere where there's any sort of accessibility or ability to drive all the way up here with a car, so keep that in mind when you come to this attraction. If you come to this attraction, you're going to be walking a lot. Oh my, even more stairs, but look at this view. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, beautiful views, but I don't think that builders back in ancient times were very concerned about accessibility. I don't think that entered their minds back then. So again, be prepared. There will be a lot of steps. So I found Fahai's cave. It's closed, which is perfectly fine because I don't think I wanted to meet the turtle guy anyway. So in a minute I might walk back around. I'm not sure what this goes to. It says something about Mercy Goddess, or Goddess of Mercy Pavilion, which is I think what I'm trying to get to. We'll see. If not, then I need to walk around the building again. But as I say, we'll see. Really amazing stuff, this ancient architecture. I don't know who came up with these kinds of designs, but it's certainly very beautiful. We don't really have anything quite like this in the West. I mean, we have our own style that's beautiful. I mean, I've been to a lot of cathedrals in Europe and different places. I guess Chinese people probably view those about the same way that we would look at these. It's very different and interesting. Ooh, got to angle the umbrella around the ancient archways. Lots of stairs. I wonder if this thing behind me is the pagoda that is for the Goddess of Peace. And no, it's got to be the one up at top. I see snakes on here. Must have something to do with the, maybe this is where the snake lady was kept. That's why it has snakes on it. Almost reminds me of some things I've seen in South America with the serpents and things on ancient ruins. But yeah, very interesting. Oh, it looks like this is the end of the road as far as going this way. You see the door is closed behind me, but again, beautiful views of these rooftops. Definitely worth visiting. I think on a clear day you can see there's a giant bridge that goes across the river. And I can kind of see it through the smog, but, or not smog, but the rain and fog. Very interesting. All right, I've made it up a lot of steps and I've arrived at the base of the pagoda or the tower. which I'm saying is the tower where they kept the snake spirit lady, or some stories or versions of it call her the White Maiden. So yes, this is where she was kept prisoner. The Chinese version of the princess in the tower that well, in this case, her sister had to come and save her. The sister of snake spirit or whatever. Again, beautiful views all around. I just happened to pick a rainy day to come here and see all this. And by the way, you may have noticed all these red ribbons tied to the trees. These actually represent prayers, is what I've been told. So you can think of each one of them a prayer from someone who's come up here. Very interesting stuff. Or as a lot of Chinese people call it, just wishes. Most of the Chinese people I've met are not religious, really. Except in the south. When I was in Fujian, there's a lot of religious people down there. And I don't know, I saw some people praying earlier. So you never know. Maybe there's a lot of religious people around here. Maybe this is a pilgrimage site for the religious, I don't know. But just the same, very interesting stuff. Well, I guess that does it for Leifeng Pagoda. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that way wrong. Leifeng Pagoda. Don't test me on the tones. I don't know them. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed. Again, sorry it's a bit rainy of a day, but yeah, if you're ever in the area, be sure to come visit. It's very interesting. China is full of folk tales like the one that goes along with this place. Hopefully the White Maiden that was trapped eternally in the pagoda is no longer trapped. In the story, she's saved by her sister and reunited with her husband and child, so happy endings. Anyway, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.